Hi, and welcome to Section 3, Continuous Integration, Continuous Deployment, and Docker. In this section, we'll make an introduction to the Docker platform and see what images and containers are. Then, we'll run our microservices as Docker containers with the help of the Docker file. We'll use Docker Compose to run our multi-container application and then move on to Jenkins. We'll learn how to configure Jenkins and add a build job that creates and runs a Docker container. In this video, we learn what Docker images and containers are and how the platform benefits the development and deployment process of software. To deploy and develop a Java web application, we need some infrastructure, an operating system, an application server, and most definitely a database. We can set these things up by hand or create a script that sets them up for us. Instead of a script, we're using Docker, a platform which allows us to use containers of these components, whether we're using application servers and databases to develop software or deploy the applications to the cloud. We realize that Docker containers are really useful for developers because they let us focus on the code itself and not the system it will run on. It's also useful for deployment because containers are lightweight and really easy to scale. Docker images are executable packages that include everything an application needs to run: a runtime, environment variables, and configuration files. Images start either from scratch or from a base image with existing settings that can also be modified. For example, on Docker Store we can find many images to work with. There are application servers. Let's search Wildfly. Here is Wildfly from JBoss. We can search for databases, let's say MySQL. Here it is. You can search for operating systems, such as Ubuntu, for example. Here is Ubuntu. A Docker container is built from an image, contains any user-added files, and runs as a service, let's say an application server or a database. For example, we could have containers for Wildfly and Payara to deploy our applications on, instead of local installations. We can also keep containers of various databases instead of installing them all locally. Do keep in mind when installing Docker that it doesn't support all operating systems. Docker for Windows requires a 64-bit version of Windows 10. For previous versions, you must install Docker Toolbox. In this course, I'll be using Docker for Windows and not Docker Toolbox.